Welcome back to ABC General Hospital Spoilers channel. Today we will dive into the explosive twists awaiting us in the episode airing on Thursday, August 28, 2025. The drama kicks off with Portia Robinson reaching her boiling point after spotting something that completely unsettles her world. Imagine the tension building as she stumbles upon a scene that screams betrayal, likely tied to her husband Curtis Ashford and his ex, Jordan Ashford. Portia has never hidden her unease about their lingering connection, even though Jordan has consistently shown remarkable poise and understanding, often extending olive branches despite past frictions. This sighting could involve a private moment between Curtis and Jordan, perhaps a shared glance or a hushed conversation at a quiet corner of Port Charles. Feeling Portia's insecurities about their unbreakable bond from years ago. As emotions flare, viewers might witness Portia unleashing a torrent of accusations, her voice echoing with a mix of hurt and fury, questioning whether Curtis's heart truly belongs to her or if old flames are reigniting. Adding to the intrigue, this confrontation could unfold in a public setting like the bustling Metro Court, drawing unintended attention from onlookers and complicating family dynamics even further. Will Portia demand answers on the spot, or will she stew in silence before exploding? This plot thread promises to explore themes of trust and jealousy, reminding us how fragile relationships can be in the high-stakes world of Port Charles. Shifting gears to the younger generation, Joe Palmieri and Marco Rios discover a surprising rapport that could blossom into a meaningful friendship. Picture them crossing paths at a casual spot like Kelly's Diner, where an initial awkward exchange turns into a heartfelt chat about their shared experiences. Perhaps they bond over the chaos of family expectations, with Joe opening up about his musical aspiration clashing with parental pressures, while Marco shares stories of navigating his own heritage and ambitions in a new town. This common ground might involve tales of overbearing relatives or dreams deferred, creating a bridge between their worlds that feels authentic and timely. Inventing a fresh layer, maybe they swap anecdotes about quirky family traditions, Gio recounting wild Palmieri gatherings filled with Italian feasts, and Marco countering with vibrant Rio celebrations infused with cultural flair. As they laugh and connect, this interaction could hint at future collaborations, like teaming up for a local event or supporting each other through upcoming personal hurdles. Fans will love seeing this budding alliance, which adds a touch of warmth amid the show's relentless drama, potentially setting the stage for alliances that influence larger story arcs down the line. Meanwhile, the sisterly feud between Molly Lansing Davis and Christina Corinthos Davis escalates into a full-blown showdown that's sure to leave jaws dropping. Molly, fueled by righteous anger, storms in to accuse Christina of meddling in ways that cross every line. Specifically, she's convinced Christina orchestrated a scheme involving Cody Bell to sabotage the budding romance between Rick Lansing and Ava Jerome, perhaps by planting doubts or staging misleading encounters. Christina, ever the quick thinker, might try to deflect with her signature charm, but Molly's legal mind won't back down, probing for cracks in her sister's story. To expand on this, envision the confrontation happening in a tense family home setting, with raised voices echoing through the halls as Molly waves evidence like cryptic messages or eyewitness accounts. Christina could counter by claiming it was all for the greater good, protecting their family from Ava's manipulative ways, but the air thickens with betrayal. This clash might unearth buried resentments from their shared past, including old grievances over favoritism or life choices, making it a powder keg of emotions. Can Christina maintain her facade, or will the truth unravel, forcing a reckoning that reshapes their bond forever? Over at the hospital, Stella Henry musters her signature resilience, putting on a stoic front amid mounting pressures. She reassures Kai Taylor with unwavering confidence, insisting that she's committed no wrongdoing and that the looming investigators will hit a dead end in their pursuits. However, Curtis Ashford harbors deep doubts, sensing that Stella's troubles stem directly from entanglements with Drew Kane, whose shady dealings could drag her into a web of scandal. To flesh this out creatively, perhaps Stella shares a poignant memory with Kai about her life's guiding principles, emphasizing integrity over shortcuts, while Curtis overhears and grapples with guilt for not shielding her sooner. This scene might include subtle hints of redemption for Kai, who could step up by offering insider tips or allying with Curtis to uncover evidence that clears Stella's name. Imagine the hospital corridors buzzing with whispers as staff speculate on the investigation's outcome, adding layers of suspense. Curtis's worry manifests in quiet pleas for Stella to confide more, highlighting the family's tight-knit yet strained ties. This subplot weaves in elements of loyalty and consequence, pondering if Kai's potential turnaround could shift the balance and save Stella from a fall. The fireworks continue as Nina Reeves spots her daughter Willow Tate at a cozy restaurant dinner, and her reaction is nothing short of volcanic. Storming over, Nina demands an explanation for what Willow is up to, especially since it appears she's rekindling her closeness with Drew Kane in a way that spells trouble. This outburst could stem from Nina's protective instincts, fearing history repeating itself with Drew's complicated past, adding inventive details. Perhaps the dinner includes candlelit ambience and lingering touches that Nina interprets as flirtation, prompting her to interrupt with a dramatic flair, her words cutting through the air like a soap opera monologue. Willow, caught off guard, might respond with a bold proposition, maybe suggesting a truce or a joint family venture to mend fences, but Nina's skepticism runs deep. This moment could escalate into a public spectacle, with other diners eavesdropping on revelations about hidden affairs or unspoken desires. What path will Nina choose? Will she sabotage the budding connection or find a way to support her daughter while guarding her heart? Elsewhere, Brooklyn Quartermain receives a much-needed boost of encouragement, perhaps from an unexpected ally like a close friend or family member, helping her navigate her latest challenges with renewed vigor. This could involve pep talks about her career moves or personal growth, injecting positivity into her storyline. The episode also features Sonny Corinthos sharing pointed words with Alexis Davis, likely delving into their tangled histories and current dilemmas, while Ava Jerome seeks assistance from Lucas Jones, possibly for legal or emotional support in her ongoing battles. And in a shocking twist, Rick Lansing awakens in his trapped state, alive but desperate, pleading for rescue from an undisclosed prison that promises to hold him captive for at least a month. This cliffhanger leaves fans speculating on his fate, wondering who orchestrated his captivity and how it ties into the broader web of Port Charles intrigue. Next, we will dive headfirst into the emotional shockwaves racing through Port Charles. After Molly Lansing Davis stumbles upon the most devastating scene of her life, Molly is finishing an exhausting shift at the Invader newsroom when a sudden impulse drives her to the Quartermain estate. She wants to thank Cody Bell for yesterday's unexpected bouquet of peonies, the flowers she once told him were her late grandmother's favorite. With rain clouds rolling over Port Charles and her umbrella forgotten in the office, she dashes across the manicured grounds, drenched but smiling until the stable doors creak open. There, in the dim glow of a single stall lantern, she freezes at the sight of Cody and Ava Jerome tangled in a fiercely passionate embrace. The sweet scent of hay now mixes with the acrid sting of betrayal. Her heart beats so loudly she hardly hears Cody's panicked plea for understanding, or Ava's breathless attempt to explain that everything is strictly business. The moment fractures Molly's fragile recovery from her breakup with T.J. Ashford and the crushing loss of their surrogate child. In seconds, her budding hope that Cody might be her new beginning shatters like glass on the stable floor. Cody's words tumble out in frantic bursts. Insists that Christina Corinthos Davis, Molly's own sister, hired him to seduce Ava as part of a scheme to rip Ava away from Rick Lansing. He claims the bold plan was meant to expose Rick's hypocrisy and nudge him back toward Alexis, preventing a messy legal showdown. Yet each justification slices Molly deeper, because the man she trusted with her wounded heart was apparently following orders from the person she once called her best friend. She revisits every flirtatious text, each late-night phone call, every reassuring smile Cody flashed during her darkest nights. Were they genuine or carefully scripted? Revenge, pity, or profit? Pain turns to fury, and fury seeks an outlet. Unable to face Christina immediately, Molly races to her father's penthouse instead. Rick Lansing greets her with guarded surprise. He's nursing a scotch and mulling over his own secrets, namely the severed brake lines on his crimson convertible. A silent murder attempt he suspects came from Christina's escalating vendetta. As Molly collapses onto the sofa, tears leaking between trembling fingers, Rick senses both an opening and a danger. He knows that revealing Christina's sabotage could bind Molly to him and sever her loyalty to her sister forever. Yet doing so risks exposing his own ongoing blackmail scheme against Alexis and Ava, a plan he knit together to protect himself from the fallout of Christina's reckless behavior. Molly, gulping back sobs, pours out the entire tale. The flowers, the midnight messages, the stable discovery, and Cody's claim of Christina's orchestration. Rick listens, brow furrowed, silently weighing which chess piece to move next. When Molly wonders aloud whether her grief over the lost baby blinded her to Cody's manipulation, Rick leans in, voice low and conspiratorial. He confesses that Christina's misdeeds stretch even further. Days ago, he says, he discovered his own brake lines had been cut, nearly sending him careening off Harborview Bridge. Someone, he insinuates, wanted me gone. He claims he traced the act to Christina's fury at his involvement in a mysterious custody petition he'd filed to protect Molly from potential legal backlash over the embryo loss. Rick's disclosure lands like a thunderclap, jolting Molly's sorrow into righteous indignation. The idea that Christina might sabotage their father's care-risking lives on a busy highway confirms Molly's worst fear. Her sister's moral compass has spun off its axis. Across town, Christina sits in Charlie's pub nursing a lukewarm latte and rehearsing an apology she plans to deliver to Molly. She has no idea the situation has already spiraled past the point of contrition. Her phone buzzes with Facebook notifications. Furious fans slam her alleged betrayal. Beneath the hashtag #sistersabotage, she scrolls in disbelief at comments calling her Port Charles' own Judas. Unaware Rick's subtle media leaks have primed the public narrative against her. Each post drives a new spike of guilt. But before she can hit call on Molly's contact, Ava Jerome strides in. He's flashing with the fury of a woman used, filmed, and nearly ruined. Ava demands to know why Christina unleashed Cody in her direction, and whether the seduction was recorded for blackmail leverage. Christina, cornered, insists the scheme was harmless theatrics meant to expose Rick's hypocrisy. But Ava explodes, reminding her that reputations in Port Charles shatter faster than crystal at the Metro Court. Their argument escalates until Sonny Corinthos himself intervenes, pulling the two women into the stockroom to avoid a headline-making scene. Sonny warns Christina that family loyalty does not grant immunity from consequences, and hints that judges reviewing adoption petitions will not overlook attempted vehicular, homicide or manufactured scandals involving public figures. Back at the penthouse, Rick's revelation seeds a darker plan in Molly's mind. If Christina risked their father's life, what else is she capable of? Molly's legal instincts kick in. She starts drafting a timeline, assembling Cody's text messages, Ava's voicemail slip-ups, and Rick's mechanic report into a dossier that could, if she wished, press criminal charges or at least secure a restraining order. Rick fans the flame, suggesting that a well-timed leak to the district attorney could shield Molly from familial backlash and redirect legal focus onto Christina. He offers to handle the paperwork, positioning himself as the protective parent. Yet even as Molly nods numbly, a sliver of doubt flickers. Rick's motives have rarely been altruistic. She remembers whispered courtroom rumors of his questionable ethics, and she senses an ulterior motive behind his help. Meanwhile, Alexis Davis rendezvous with Ava at a discreet corner booth in the Metro Court restaurant. United by necessity, the two women sketch their own strategy to neutralize Rick before he deploys his information against Christina. Alexis proposes a preemptive strike, exposing Rick's attempted coercion of a family court judge, using doctored medical evidence related to TJ's fertility tests. If they can prove Rick falsified affidavits, they can force him into a plea bargain that protects Christina from break-line accusations. By painting Rick as the true architect of the family's turmoil, Ava, ever the tactician, sweetens the plan by offering surveillance footage of Rick meeting with a known private investigator, footage she acquired through her media contacts at Crimson. The uneasy alliance between the lawyer and the art world firebrand takes shape. Over clinking wine glasses, each woman driven by overlapping but distinct goals. Alexis wants to shield her daughters. Ava wants to bury Rick before he buries her. As night descends, Cody sits alone on the pier, the salty wind whipping through his hair as he tosses pebbles into the dark water. He replays every decision that led to the stable disaster, from accepting Christina's desperate proposal to the fleeting thrill of Ava's unexpected reciprocation. For the first time, he grasps the magnitude of the havoc he's unleashed. He drafts a text to Molly, an unvarnished confession, promising to expose every layer of the plot and walk into the PCPD if it will salvage even a fragment of her trust. But before he can hit send, Detective Dante Falconeri approaches, badge glinting in the moonlight. Someone has filed an anonymous tip, linking Cody to potential tampering with evidence in a vehicular sabotage case. The handcuffs click shut, and the phone clatters to the pier, unread. Port Charles awakens the next morning to a frenzy of headlines. Local heroine sister accused in deadly plot. Playboy stable hand arrested. Breakline bombshell rocks Corinthos Davis clan. Social media erupts in real time, with polls asking whether Christina should lose rights to foster again, whether Rick deserves jail time, and whether Molly will press charges. At GH, TJ Ashford glances at a television report and feels a pang of concern for the woman he once planned to marry. He contemplates visiting her, unsure whether his presence would heal or reopen wounds. Molly, now holed up in her studio apartment surrounded by legal pads and empty coffee cups, drafts two starkly different statements, one calling for Christina's immediate arrest, the other offering a conditional reconciliation if Christina confesses publicly and enters counseling. She weighs each option with the precision of a seasoned attorney, but the heartbreak of a sister who once shared secret diaries and dorm room giggles. Her phone lights up with texts from Sam, pleading for unity, and from Mayor Laura Collins, cautioning her to keep the family drama out of City Hall's headlines. Decision time looms. Unleash the legal lion or extend an olive branch already scorched by lies. Across town, Christina stands on Alexis's porch, fist raised to knock, but heart sinking under the weight of impending judgment. She rehearses a tearful apology, a vow to change, and a promise to repair every broken bond. Yet she also steels herself for battle, knowing Rick will stop at nothing to exploit her mistakes. The door swings open, and Alexis's eyes reveal a mixture of maternal love and steely resolve. Behind her, Ava steps into view, arms crossed, signaling that the next move in this high-stakes family chess game will be anything but simple. In the days ahead, alliances will shift like sand beneath the tides of Port Charles. Will Molly choose justice over kinship, filing charges that could put her sister behind bars? Will Rick's machinations backfire, landing him in the crosshairs of the very law he manipulates? Can Christina find redemption before a judge deems her a danger to everyone she loves? One thing is certain, the Davis family's once unbreakable bond now hangs by the thinnest of threads, and every choice they make will either mend or sever it forever. Next, we will learn about the shattering crisis that threatens to rip the Davis clan apart. Just when Port Charles needs their unity most, Alexis Davis stands in the living room of her once lively lake house, staring at photographs that now feel like relics, Sam smiling with baby Scout in her arms, Molly and Christina wrapped in identical holiday scarves, Rick's uneasy grin at a long-ago barbecue. One picture is missing. Sam's memorial portrait sits at GH, ringed with Lilies, yet the silence is loud with questions. How did a family built on fierce loyalty unravel so catastrophically? And can anything knit it back together before Scout becomes the next casualty? The unraveling began with Christina's ill-fated vendetta against Ava Jerome. Consumed by rage over Sam's death and convinced Ava's reckless dealings set every calamity in motion, Christina hatched a desperate plan: sabotage Ava's brakes, force a crash, expose her as unfit, and win custody leverage for the Davis crew. In a chilling twist of fate, Christina sliced the wrong brake lines, sending Rick Lansing and Elizabeth Weber skidding across Riverfront Drive in a shower of sparks. They survived, but the blowback detonated like shrapnel. Rick pressed charges, Elizabeth's boys faced weeks of nightmares, and Christina embarked on a frantic cover-up that only deepened the hole beneath her feet. Enter Cody Bell, handsome, affable, and wholly unprepared for the Davis family tornado. Christina dangled money and the promise of adventure if he would seduce Ava, gather compromising intel, and keep her too distracted to testify in the brake tampering investigation. Cody agreed, half tempted by the payday, half intrigued by the challenge. He never imagined Molly Lansing Davis would drift into his orbit. Her shy smile and wounded heart igniting feelings he hadn't entertained since his last rodeo. On the Texas circuit, when Christina realized Molly was falling hard, she doubled down, labeling Cody a notorious womanizer to steer Molly away, each lie adding a fresh brick to the mounting wall between sisters. Molly, already staggering from the still raw loss of her surrogate baby and her breakup with TJ Ashford, clung to Cody's attentiveness like a life raft. She quoted Jane Austen to him over coffee, brought him homemade eclairs because he once joked about a sweet tooth bigger than Sonny's empire, and finally began to sleep through the night again. The betrayal, when it came, felt biblical. Discovering that Cody's flirtations were commissioned by her own sister tore every scab free, exposing the grief she had tried to bury under work shifts and legal briefs. Now Port Charles hums with gossip. At Charlie's pub, patrons whisper that Christina has become a Corinthos without guardrails. At Rice Plaza, Ava's gallery clients muse whether the rumored stable seduction was performance art or blackmail fodder. Even the court of public opinion on Facefront explodes with hashtags "Break It" Sister sabotage. Save Scout, fueling the wildfire threatening to consume all involved. Rick Lansing, opportunist to the bone, spots leverage in every family secret. His near-fatal crash hands him the moral high ground, yet he trades it for a darker currency. He waves the police report at Alexis like a flag of surrender, offering to drop charges if she'll testify that Christina acted under duress, thus destroying any hope Christina has for future adoption petitions. Alexis recoils, realizing Rick's grief-tinged righteousness masks the same manipulative streak that once landed him. Disbarment papers. She refuses, setting off a legal chess match that pits former lovers against each other while their daughter spins toward ruin. At GH, Elizabeth stitches her own life back together, physical therapy schedule in one hand, worry for Molly in the other. She urges Rick to lead with Mercy, but Rick's lawyer whispers that Mercy never got a Lansing what he wanted. Meanwhile, TJ Ashford watches from the nurse's station as headlines scroll across the waiting room television. Pain flickers in his eyes. He still loves Molly, yet guilt over their fractured engagement keeps him at arm's length. He texts her nightly brief notes about staying hydrated, about how Scout laughed at a butterfly mural but deletes them before hitting send. Ava Jerome, the unintended target turned unwilling accomplice, charts her comeback with chilling precision. She leaks grainy footage of her and Cody's romantic stable rendezvous to Crimson, framing herself as both victim and survivor. The piece rockets Ava back onto covers just as her auction of Sam's art collection begins. Every click raises her public profile and raises Christina's blood pressure. Ava's ultimate gambit? Offer shared custody of Scout if Alexis agrees to cut Rick out of any settlement, and testify that the break sabotage was Rick's design, not Christina's. It's a devil's bargain. Protect the Davis girls by swallowing a lie big enough to choke generations. Back at LS&B Legal, Molly pores over depositions, her trademark highlighters strewn like confetti. The law once sang to her clear, objective, fair, but family drama muddies every paragraph. If she testifies against Christina, the DA gains a credible witness. If she refuses, Rick will trumpet her silence as evidence of complicity. Molly weighs each option on a scale tipped by heartbreak, vengeance, and a lingering sisterly bond that refuses to snap entirely. Christina, for her part, barricades herself in her loft above Charlie's, rehearsing apologies that snag on self-loathing. She scrolls through baby photos of Scout, remembering Sam's voice at the park. Promise me, Chrissy, if anything happens, you'll keep them all safe. Yet every promise feels hollow when she pictures Rick's mangled convertible, or Molly's tear-streaked cheeks. Desperation drives her to Sonny's penthouse. She pleads for a solution only Corinthos muscle can supply. Sonny listens, jaw tight, torn between paternal instinct and the code he drilled into his children. We own our mistakes. He offers money for a top-shelf criminal attorney, but refuses to erase evidence, forcing Christina to face consequences the way he once demanded of Michael and Dante. As court dates loom, Alexis convenes a last-ditch family summit at the lake house. Rain batters the windows while a fireplace crackles like a nervous metronome. Molly arrives first, files clutched to her chest like armor. Christina steps through the door moments later, hair plastered to her forehead, eyes raw. They sit at opposite ends of the sofa, silent, stretching. Alexis begins with the unvarnished truth. If they do not unite, Scout could end up in foster care, split between contentious guardianships while the state untangles the mess. Sam fought her whole life to spare her daughter that chaos. Now the burden falls on them. Molly breaks first. Voice trembling, she lays out every wound, the lies, the manipulation, the weaponizing of her grief. Yet beneath the anger, love flickers. She recalls the night Christina stayed awake braiding her hair after Molly's first heartbreak. The summers they spent mapping constellations on the roof. The pact to protect each other from bullies and boys alike. Christina sobs, confessing every step of Breakgate and Cottygate, admitting fear, rage, and the crippling guilt that drove her to fix problems with gasoline when she should have used water. They cling to each other, sisters again, but forgiveness demands action. Together they craft a dramatic, risky plan. Christina will plead guilty to reckless endangerment, accept mandated counseling, and issue a public apology to Rick and Elizabeth. Molly will testify to Christina's remorse, detailing mitigating factors like Sam's death and Ava's provocations. In exchange, Rick must drop all civil suits and sign a binding agreement surrendering any claim to Scout's guardianship. Alexis will file for temporary custody, backed by Ava's sworn statement acknowledging her own role and supporting the Davis motion. It is a legal labyrinth, but for the first time in months, everyone rows in the same direction. The day of the hearing dawns gray and stormy, as though Port Charles holds its breath. Courtroom seats overflow with reporters, hospital staff, and curious townsfolk. Christina stands, voice steady, pleading guilty. Gasps ripple, flashes pop, but she doesn't waver. Molly rises next, eloquent and raw, painting her sister not as a villain, but a grieving soul who lost the map, and is ready to learn the route home. Judge Holcomb, renowned for zero tolerance, studies both women for a long, merciless minute before granting the plea deal, and assigning Christina to 400 hours of community service at GH's trauma unit. Rick, glowering, nonetheless signs the scout guardianship waiver under Alexis's watchful eye. The gavel falls, and a fragile peace takes its first breath. Outside, cameras swarm, but the Davis sisters clasp hands, forming an unspoken shield. They know Storm still lurked plotting appeals, Cody facing charges of conspiracy, Sonny questioning every legal nuance, but for this heartbeat they stand unbroken. Later, at Sam's grave, they place sunflowers and whisper a promise to protect Scout and each other, no matter how dark the road. In the weeks ahead, Port Charles will debate whether Christina's sentence is lenient, whether Rick will exact revenge, and whether Cody can redeem himself by turning state's evidence. Yet one truth emerges brighter than courthouse floodlights. The Davis women, reforged in fire, are no longer cracked glass but tempered steel, and with Scout's future finally secured under their collective guardianship, Sam's legacy endures a guiding star that even a Corinthos tempest cannot dim.